You should know there's an architecture beneath human interaction, a set of unseen levers that operate just below the surface of our words.
And the first thing you have to understand is this: agreement isn't logical. It isn't a choice you consciously make.
It's a response, a signal from the nervous system that resistance has dropped. You see, people don't agree with you because your argument is perfect. They agree because you've managed to touch something much, much deeper.
We're talking about levers that speak directly to the oldest parts of the brain, the parts that decide what's safe, what's true, and what to follow, long before the conscious mind even has a chance to object.
So let's start with the first lever, the invisible frame. This is all about the context that defines reality. Because people don't respond to what you say, they respond to the context you say it from.
The frame. Think of it as the psychological container for the interaction. It's what silently answers the questions, who's leading here, who's following, and what does all of this mean? The truth is, most people will accept the frame you provide without ever realizing it's even there.
If you speak from a frame of grounded clarity, people will follow you. But if you speak from uncertainty, they resist. Your own certainty becomes the reality of the room. Now, this isn't about arrogance. It's a quiet, internal alignment that other people can feel, and one of the main tools for communicating that frame is your tone.
Your tone is not decoration. It is direction. It's a tool that's designed to bypass conscious thought and give instructions directly to the listener's internal state. A calm, steady tone signals authority. A slower pace signals certainty. When your voice communicates, relax, or this is safe, it's not something a person decides to believe. It's something their body simply accepts as true. And this is the crucial point. People don't really agree with your words. They agree with the state you put them in. So the real goal of your tone is to create a state of receptivity. Once you've done that, the words themselves, well, they become almost secondary.
Which brings us to our second lever. You see, large agreements are rarely made in one giant leap. They are built, piece by piece, through tiny little steps that create an undeniable momentum. One way we do this is with the presupposition. This is basically a way to embed a conclusion inside of a sentence. The conscious mind, it focuses on the surface-level meaning, while the subconscious mind just accepts the hidden assumption as reality. The brain doesn't really argue with words like when, after, or as. It just processes the statement as if the outcome is inevitable. You're creating a path and inviting the mind to walk down it, believing it was already going that way. Resistance is really high for big decisions, right? But it's almost non-existent for small points of shared understanding. A microagreement is just a simple statement of a truth that you both already know. It could be something as simple as, "It's been a busy week," or "We all want this to work out."
Each one of those tiny yeses warms up the nervous system. It creates a pattern of alignment. And soon, the brain starts to associate you with agreement itself, making that final larger agreement feel like just a natural continuation of a path you're already on together.
This momentum builds to our third lever, which is, well, it's perhaps the most powerful of all. It doesn't operate on logic, but on a really fundamental human need, the need to be understood.
This is done with something called the emotional label. Now, this isn't about telling someone how they feel. It's about reflecting back the emotional truth that you observe in them and doing it without any judgment.
When you accurately name someone's inner experience, something profound happens. Their defenses just lower. Their nervous system relaxes. And why is that? Because the most primal part of our brain registers being seen as being safe.
This gets at a core principle. Being understood feels like safety, and a mind that feels safe is a mind that is receptive. People will agree with those who make them feel seen. It creates a deep, psychological rapport.
Now we arrive at the final and most counterintuitive set of levers. All the previous levers we talked about were active. This one is about the immense power of restraint.
This is different than a simple presupposition. The future pace is about painting a vivid picture. When you speak as if a desired outcome is already unfolding, like saying, "When we start working on this," you invite their brain to mentally rehearse that reality. And that rehearsal makes the future feel familiar and safe. You're not pushing them. You're simply describing a path they can now see for themselves.
This is the art of stillness. When you don't rush, when you don't over-explain, when you don't fill the silence, and when you stop trying to convince, you lean back. This creates a kind of psychological vacuum,
and people feel an unconscious pull to fill that space by moving toward you.
The mind trusts what doesn't push. Your stillness communicates that you don't need their agreement, and that lack of need, that's the ultimate signal of confidence, and it's profoundly influential. So you see, agreement isn't something you take by force of argument. It's a state you create. You do it through your frame, your tone, your recognition, and your stillness. You stop trying to persuade, and people simply begin to align with you.
What if influence isn't something that's taken, but something that's given, a natural response to someone who understands the architecture of the mind itself?